Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I really appreciate it. So today I thought I would talk charts. And in the context of those charts, I'm going to talk about why I think a lot of trading books, if not all, are really useless. I'm probably over generalizing there, but I'm going to talk about why I think they are, and I haven't even read them, so what is my opinion? But I'm going to talk about it because it's controversial and I want views. Anyway, let's talk charts. All right. Okay. Let's start off by looking at the weekly ES chart. What happened here? We were on such a roll. Okay, so if you saw my video last week, I talked about the fact that, it felt like, to me, like a blow-off top, but it really wasn't one technically. So if you're reading trading books, and I've also talked about before how I said the first candle to look like the top is never the top. So this is the problem, right? Like, none of this is easy. It's not like you could take a course for like a couple of weeks, couple of months. I mean, I'm not a dummy, but it's just not like you can take a course and figure out what the market is going to do. They don't want to hand us money. So a lot of it is counterintuitive, and a lot of it gets close to being something that you're looking for, but not exactly what you're looking for, and that stops a lot of people from pulling the trigger. It's also 100% made to take advantage of two things: fear and greed. And there was a lot of greed happening last week, or I guess the week before last. And I even said it. I said I sold 0.5 market days ago, and I'm already like, yeah, FOMO, FOMO, FOMO. So anyway, the reason that I like to look at charts on a Sunday or a Saturday when the market's closed, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't count if it's like the 5 to 6 hour, futures break or whatever. The reason I like to look at things off market hours is because I'm less emotional. A lot of us talk about trading like robots. How many of us are actually capable of it? I know I'm not. So I like to look off hours when there's not a whole lot going on, and I like to give myself Saturday as a break so I can just kind of, and also so I can read Twitter and see what everybody else is doing. But anyway, when I bought down here, I told my friends, I said, if it gets to 3,200, that would be a gift. It would be a gift. But I didn't feel like it was a gift when it got there. And in fact, a lot of smart people on Twitter responding to me said, well, I've got 3,250 as a top. And I thought, a lot of people said that. So then I was like, ooh, if that's like a level that other people are looking at, and I don't know how they got that, I have no idea. I almost never understand why my values or my pivots line up with somebody else. I'm not an expert. But anyway, when they all said 3,250 was like the, what they thought, I was like, ooh, I don't think it's going to get there. Because again, or if it did get there, I was like, ooh, it's going to go much higher. I would have bought back the stuff I sold. Because they just don't like to hand it out to us. And again, I don't know how they all got there. They all trade differently. They all some of them are like wave traders, and I don't know how they do it, and I don't know how I do it. But anyway, when they said that, I felt more confident, but I was still feeling a lot of FOMO earlier this week. I was like, what if it gets to 3,600? Then it would be okay. But again, I probably would have bought back if it got above 3,250 and back tested it, because I don't know when the top is. But if you have a plan, if you made a decision way down here, since I made a decision way down here that's when I was going to sell, I was going to follow through on it. And I don't know whether it's the top. And I joke about, let me go to the daily for this. But before I do that, so we closed above my ambulance line here. That's constructive. This still doesn't look bearish to me. Does it look bearish to you? No. And yet, and I'll talk more about this too, but I don't see bears actually calling for huge dips here. I don't see, bulls are like, I hope it gets more down. And bears are like, yeah, it's probably, it's probably going to consolidate for a while. I just don't see any real consensus I don't see any real bearishness happening, which would be concerning to me if it weren't for all this Momo. It's not concerning to me yet. Sometimes, if you're contrarian, you're just wrong. You're just trading against the trend. Don't do that. You have to know the difference between being contrarian and trading against the trend. It's hard. It's hard out there. Anyway, these are the pivots that I'm looking for this week, weekly pivots. I'm going to make them as horizontal lines on the charts I actually trade from, which aren't the ones I'm showing you. But these are sort of my ideas charts that I show, because I don't feel like that's giving away too much, and I feel like I can be helpful with them. So overall, weekly, not bearish yet. Closed above my ambulance line, great, and made a higher high, but also a lower low. All right, let's look at the daily. So, my finish line though, I just kind of want to stare at it and just go, oh, wow, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful. And it was helpful to us. It was very helpful to us. You can see they got back tested. It's a really good line. That's what I thought the first time it went through. I was like talking to the market here. I'm like, guys, this is a really good line. That should be a false breakout. Anyway, it's a good line. I joke on Twitter about being a bottom catcher. I mean, I totally am. And now I'm a top caller, and I guess I've done that before, but really, you're not supposed to take advice from people who do this. Don't take not financial advice. And don't take advice from people like me. We don't know what we're doing. We could have been wrong. It's a joke, actually, and it's funny, and I kind of make fun of myself all the time, because I realize what I'm doing is not normal, but that's okay. I don't need to be normal. We just need to make money, right? And any way I can be helpful. So what I was doing, so I thought this was a false breakout. That was my best guess. So what I was doing was I was watching the Russell 2000 small caps 1 hour chart, and I saw a head and shoulders forming there. It was beautiful. It was clear. And again, with these trading books, actually that one was a good one. It did bounce up from the neckline and went right back down. But anyway, they don't make it easy for us, right? They don't hand us what they want us to see. We have to read between the lines and not be exact about anything. That's the key. There's just no simple way, other than the MA way I've talked about a lot, to trade in a way that's going to net you consistently, let you be consistently profitable. So anyway, I was watching the Russell 1 hour chart, and I tweeted about it, right? I had gotten like a lot of likes that day from just like crap tweets. I don't know. It was just like, I just tweet to tweet. I don't really try to do that, actually. Sometimes I'm quiet. If I'm quiet, it either means that I'm not paying attention, I got other things going on, or that I'm about to do something big. Anyway, the Russell was very overextended. I felt that SES was overextended, so I was looking at the thing that I thought was going to fall first and go from there. So that's what happened, and it was honestly, it was a little bit easy. But nobody paid attention to my tweet. Like, it was my least liked tweet, until I mentioned that it was my least liked tweet, and then a lot of people started liking it. Oh yeah, no, I was paying attention. But I mean, it was actually confirmation for me, because no one thought, I don't think, that it was going to go down. Like, people, and even when I asked, well, hey, what's going to happen? A lot of people were just like, ah. And can I just ask, why did it go down? I wasn't paying attention. I did see his press conference, and it looked like to me like he was just faking it. Like, he was just like, okay, I just have to read off of these cards and get my ass through this, because this shit's going down. Like, that's what it looked like to me. Not that I know anything about faking things. I have no idea. I have no idea what any of that is. But anyway, he looked like he was faking it. And that's the only bearish thing that I can think of. Really, what he said was no different from anything else he'd said. At least to me, it all sounds alike. I don't know. I don't really pay attention. I just use those days as sort of like pivot days for things. And like I said, if it had gotten back above 32.50 and then back tested it in some way, I would have bought it back, because I would have been wrong. That was my gauge. I was feeling the FOMO. I was feeling the FOMO on these days. Anyway, these are the pivots I'm watching for this week. Here's what I'm expecting. Same thing as last week. Remember I said, you know, down here, I was like, ooh, if it gets to 3,200, I'm going to get rid of some, if not all. And here, the same thing from last week. I still think that the way they screw the most people is by going down, coming back up, and then maybe consolidating for a little bit, getting everybody all wound up, and then broop, down. Now, I could be wrong. It could go up. So I'll figure that out later, but I'm still going to go with what's happening now. What I'm seeing on Twitter, though, for the most part, is a lot of people agreeing. There are some people that are very bearish here. But, you know, this looks like a gift from God for bears, right? Like, I mean, and I'm seeing a lot of noobs being like, how do I, you know, short? How do I get, that's not necessarily bearish. But, you know, there's a lot of consensus actually about people thinking that it'll go down a little bit more and then go back up and maybe go to all-time highs. So that's, generally speaking, when I see consensus, it bothers me a little bit. I'm like, oh no, I don't like to be in the crowd. But you know what? There's a difference, right? I'm not contrarian just to be contrarian. Like, that would be dumb. When I am contrarian, it's because I think I'm gonna make money doing it. I think sometimes the crowd is right. Sometimes the sheep are right for a long period of time. Sometimes the sheep are all like going together to the pasture to eat, like, I don't know what sheep eat, grass? I don't know. And then all of a sudden they're attacked by wolves. But you know what? They might eat grass and be like happy sheep for a really long time. It's hard to say. I mean, you don't make money by being contrarian when that's, you're going against the trend, right? Nothing about this still, to me, looks bearish. But I would like to see it come down and potentially test. And but originally too, I was like, oh, the blue or the pink. I was not expecting this huge of a drop. This to me looks like, and if you see the size of this candle compared to the size of these other candles, even, it's huge. It's huge, right? Because when the values are bigger here, this is actually a greater percentage than a candle like this here. Anyway, I was surprised by the veracity of the drawdown here, of the flush. And you think about it, it was just one day, and look how much it's taken away. Not really that much, like a couple of weeks. Now, I did have a friend that did not take my sell at 3,200 advice, and he lost like almost, 6 figures. And I feel bad about that, because also, how would he know that I was right? How would I know that I was right? And plus, I'm not managing that money. I felt bad though. I did feel bad. I still feel bad. But it's not my, I can't help. All right, I don't know. I've been wrong before, lots of times. Anyway, I would like it for it to come down here and then get everybody frothy. I saw some froth. I see some froth, but I still think the bears are a little bit like, I don't know. Is this real? So and I've even seen them, they're still talking about the Fed buying stuff. So in this case, I do expect it to go down more, get them a little more frothy. I'd love to see it test, of course, Eric's line here, or this gap value. And if it does, and if I see some support on daily, hourly, whatever, I'm going to go to the hourly first. I'm going to watch the little time frames first. I have the daily in my mind, but I'm going to look for something catchable here to scalp from. And then, like I said, if it screws the most people, the screwing the most people thing would be to go up and then go back up, maybe consolidate for a little bit and then go down. Now, that's off of what most people think, right? Because most people, if it does go back up here, of course they're going to think it's going to go to all-time highs. And I thought about it, and I'm like, well, him doing a little fakey press conference here, or just faking it through there, think something is going to happen that is very unexpected and very bad. And the reason I think that isn't because I'm psychic. Or is it? No. I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Just a little bit. It's because if you look at this, look how much air was let out of the tires here just by a fakey. I mean, imagine what would happen if something really bad and unexpected happened out of nowhere. It would give no one a chance to get out. This is still really a chance to get out for people who want it. But I don't think people are going to take it. I think there's too much greed. I think there's too many reasons that they'll have to push it back up. But I'm thinking whatever happens here that would make it go down is going to be something they won't be able to push up until it gets way bad. Way bad. But I don't know. I don't want to be morbid or anything like that. We'll see what happens. That's just what I think. It'll go down, back up, and then boom, down. All right. And, you know, I don't know that I caught the top here. I didn't catch the exact top for sure. But if it does go back above here and start to consolidate, I'm going to do everything I can to beg the people that I love and care about for them to at least take a little bit out. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It could go to 3,600. Abso-freaking-lutely. And I'll tell them, like, I'll say, take a little bit out. You can always put it back in. If it goes higher, it's okay. It's all right. Anyway, so we did close below this fat lady had sung line, but you know, it's only 1 day of damage as far as I'm concerned. It's a big day, but yeah, I'm not that bearish yet, like bearish. I would be willing to buy a dip, in other words. And we close RSI wise. I have one line here, only one that goes across and is horizontal. And we closed exactly back testing. Oh, that's not true. I have two. But anyway, we closed exactly back testing this line. So hopefully we go a little bit more. Maybe make a head and shoulders and RSI or some weirdness like that. I don't know. And go back higher. I'll keep you informed of what I think. Okay. That's it. I'm basically telling you that I'm looking to short some more, and then I'll be looking to buy the dip. All right, let's talk about gold. You know, if you bought this where I said it had strong price support, you're doing pretty well right about now. It kind of looks like it's bull flagging a little bit, but it's still doing a whole lot of nothing. It's still like making lower highs. Doesn't look particularly bearish to me. I mean, it's also, I mean, to some extent, I mean, it's just chopping around, but the lows are still higher too. So if something bearish does happen to gold, then you know, I still think I'd be willing to buy it here at the rocket line, depending on what happens with support. It's on RSI support right here, or I'd be willing to buy it again if it gets above this resistance. It's especially because we're making lower highs. Any break above this last high, it's gonna squeeze up, way up in the sky. So that's easy. That's an easy trade, right? That's a good setup. All right, silver. What's happening here? We started talking about this head and shoulders even before it happened, didn't we? And if it does happen, and it did look like it pretty much happened. I didn't draw in the neckline here, but shoulder, head, shoulder. Then I don't know what the measured move of that is. Looks like it's right here, right? About right 1655-ish or so. And that would also be an intersection of these two MAs. So that'd be great support. So around 1646 or so, if it got there, and this will change every day. So if they happen to get up here, it would be a fantastic scale-in opportunity, I'm thinking. This pink line here, this wheelchair / mini key line, would actually be a perfect back test of the breakout. It could get all the way there. Absolutely. But we'll see. I will probably start scaling in. If, in fact, I'll have to see what happens if it even hits the magnet lines. And I'm going to say if is because even though it closed pretty much on the low of day, sometimes they like to fool us, guys. They like to fool us, and they like to make it look very bearish when in fact it probably isn't. But we'll have to see. If it just opens up even flat and flashes down a wick and then goes up, a lot of times it does bounce off of the neckline anyway. The best thing to do would be to wait. And if it gets above this rocket line, which is about 1851-ish right now, that would easily cause a McSqueeze. So that's an easy trade, right? You just have to wait. You just have to wait until it gets above here. Or you have to wait until it gets somewhere here where you're willing to scale in and take a risk and then know when you're wrong. I still have a third of my scale that I bought on this blue day left because why not? Like, I've already taken profit. You know, I've already done a couple McSqueezes. I'm happy. I'm happy with my silver. So we just have to wait to see what happens. You don't have to know every day or make a trade every day. You can just say, if this condition exists, if it gets above this, I will buy it. If it gets below here or at this, I will buy it. Just have a plan for when you will not, you will be wrong. So have a plan for when you're wrong, have a plan for when you're right. That's all you need to do. You could buy, you don't even need to buy it at a line. Like, I'm giving you great advice today. I'm like, you could just buy it anytime as long as you have a plan for when to sell and, or not when to sell, but if you're wrong and if you're right. Just need a plan. That's it. You don't even need lines or levels. You don't need anything. You just need a plan. That's the whole thing, having a plan. All right, let's talk about oil. So last week I had said that, I remember there was some bullish news that happened over the weekend. I don't remember what it was. I don't really track it that much. Like, I used to, back in the day when I was a new trader, I used to look at tankers. I used to like try and figure out, you know, I was doing a lot of stuff. I was trying to get myself extremely confused. But finally I realized that none of it made sense. And like I said before, when I had been bullish oil for so long, every single time that something positive would happen, it would just sell off. And I said, will this time be different? And it wasn't. It wasn't. So we got up a little bit. We still have not completely filled the gap. That doesn't surprise me at all. It's funny because either we fill it and go past it and then down, and it's the same thing in reverse, or we just kind of leave that there for the bulls, and then I think we're going to come down here and and figure some stuff out. But anyway, oh, let me move this over. So for this week, gosh, you know what? That would be it. That would be a nice pivot to watch if it hits. And probably also the MA will be around there as well. That would be nice. So I'll be watching around here, see what happens. From a weekly perspective. Now from 4 hour, I was looking at this before. There is some divergence from here to here, right? See how the RSI is lower, but the price is higher? The same point. I didn't draw it in yet. Should I do it now? Live trading? Okay, let's do it. And then I'm not going to draw it on here because it's just useless, but it's like here to here. Now I do like my divergence in threes, so we'll have to see if maybe the price will break out and go a little higher, maybe fill the gap and a little bit up. I don't know. But then we'll have to see what happens. So I'd be looking for, basically what I'm telling you is if it goes up, I'll be looking to short it. If it goes down, I'll be looking to buy it. And I'll just have to figure out which level makes the most sense when we get there. And that's it. That's oil. Now, I have something very exciting to talk about for Natty. It's exciting, but I don't think it's constructive, but it's still exciting. Okay, so I've been trying to figure out, like, it's just a chop fest. Now, it's starting to look to me, too, like a Head and Shoulders. Like, big shoulder, big head, big shoulder, and then it passed through this neckline. But it's messy as F. Like, I don't know what's happening. So anyway, I was DMing a few Natty traders because they're crazy people, and I was asking them what they think. And one of them, I just love this person so much. One of them was like, well, I'm going to wait for the gap, or I'm going to wait for it to show me something good. And I was like, what gap? you know how I love gaps. I'm like, I don't see a gap anywhere. And they're like, oh, the gap that's like on May 15th. I'm like, what? I look here, I don't see a gap, right? The wicks intersect with each other. Now it has one of those beautiful open spaces, but it sort of kind of covered that already. So this is a hidden gap, because if you look at this candle, the day closed, the close of this candle was way down here. Then the next candle, the next day, opened way up here. Now I don't know if it was like a weekend or what happened, but it went from way low to way high. Our contract, I don't even know if it's contract rollover. I have no idea. But anyway, basically, even though you don't see a gap on this daily chart, if you go down, drill down to the 4 hour or the 1 hour, you'll be able to see a gap pretty clearly. So this is the other fascinating thing. So I went ahead and drew in the bottom of the gap here, and then I looked here, that washout that I talked about, that if you held it through extended hours, good hold. Basically, so I drew the line here, and then I go back and I look. That washout exactly tested the top of the candle body from this day, like perfectly. I don't know what that means, except for that the gaps are really important, and I wish I had seen the gap before. But I think at this stage, really the gap is not filled until 1.647-ish. The data is crap, as you know, so I'll have to see exactly. And also I've noticed that, in the past, even if it did bounce up from this exact gap thing, usually when a gap gets filled, it either gets almost filled, like a little bit, no, because it's already done that, but it either gets almost filled or it goes beyond that, because they don't like to make it easy for us, right? Like if you have a buy order in here at 1.647, it's still gonna go lower probably. So I like this guy's plan. I still have a core position in my investment account that I'm not too happy about, to be frank with you, but I like the idea of buying when it gets this ambulance line again. Maybe even scaling in these gap values, buying here, and like depending on where we are RSI wise. But I mean, if it happens to go to this RSI support at the same time it goes to the, it looks like it'll go further, but maybe the day will go further and it'll end up on that RSI support. That'd be nice. I think that would be an okay buy, but again, keep in mind this huge head and shoulders. I mean, this thing can go to $1 easy. There is no, wow, Natty's so cheap. I mean, how cheap was oil? Like, that was cheap, right? So anyway, basically my plan is to alert myself at these levels and see whether or not I see any RSI support, or to wait until it gets bullish-ish, which would be above this 1.985 level, or possibly sooner, because I do think that if it closed above this 1.864, I do think it's going to squeeze. So yeah, so those are the values I'm looking at. Either something buying down here or buying up here, and otherwise it's just messing around. It's just messing around here. Nothing is happening. I mean, it's certainly not bullish yet, but nothing's happening. I don't see anything happening. Anyway, that's it. Hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you have a fantastic week. Let's make a lot of money. If I see anything, I will certainly let you know, and I hope you'll let me know if you see something. That would be great. Like, oh, I forgot. I gotta go big screen. Anyway, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and that's it. I will see you on the interwebs. Okay, bye.